Hello, welcome to Data Engineer YouTube channel. In this video, we will be talking about the supported file formats in Azure Data Factory. See, we are dealing with the data, right? Now, there are multiple types of data which we can deal with. Now, we need to know, like for particularly Azure Data Factory, what kind of data type we can support, right? So let's get started. We can know like what kind of files are supported in ADF and what kind of files we can process in ADF. So let's get started with it. So let me just show you the basic details which files are possible to process in ADF. So starting with the simple text files, we can process the text files, the JSON files, the XML files, Avro files, parquet file, ORC files, binary files, compression formats such as gzip, and then we have the archive format such as the zip. So let's get to know about each of them in depth, and then we will know like which kind of file we should use for processing a particular kind of data. So let's get started with that. We'll start with the normal text files. So normal text files are those files which you can just simply open on your notepad or your MS Word and so on. These text files can be of the type CSV. CSV stand for comma separated values. That means the values which are just separated by a comma delimiter, right? So these kind of files can be processed in ADF. Okay, so then we comes the JSON file. So now what is JSON file? So JSON stand for JavaScript Object Notation. So what it does is it stores the data in the form of key value pair. So we have a key, and to the corresponding we have the value separated by a colon, right? So this is how JSON is formed. So in curly bracket we can have multiple key value formats, and it is very easy to read for human as well as for the computer. So this is a very good format, and even nowadays non-relational databases consist of JSON format storage, right? Now let's move further to the next kind of file, which is the XML file. So you must have heard about the XML. It's the extensible markup language, right? So it basically stores the data in the form of tags, right? So this is also supported in Azure Data Factory. Now comes the next one, which is the Avro file, which is very important if you are in the data engineering domain. So let's talk about what is Avro file. Now Avro file is such file. It's basically a binary file, which means it's very compressed. You can't read it directly. It is in the form of zeros and ones. It's a binary file. It's highly compressed, and then it's very useful, or you can say we can use it to store our big data, right? Now the thing is, Avro file stores the data in the row wise format. For example, let's say I have two rows. Let's say I have my serial number, which is 1, name, which is Suk, and then let's say age, let's say 25, and then I have another person 2, who, let's say the name is Jack and the age is 45. Now this is a sample data which I have. Now what Avro will do is Avro will store the data in the form of row wise. For like it will firstly write, let me just show you, 1, then Suk, and then 25, and then 2, then Jack, and so on, like this. So in a row wise format it will store the data. So this is one of the very famous file format which is used in big data. So let's move to the parquet file. Now you must have heard about parquet file. In my previous videos also we used to create a lot of parquet file. So parquet file is another highly compressed file. It is also it stores the data in the form of binary format, again just like the Avro. And now but the thing is, it stores the data in the column wise way, the columnar way. For example, let's say I have 1, and then let's say let me write it here, Suk, and then I have my age, let's say 30, and then I have 2, then let's say Jack, and then I have 45. Now it will store the data in the column way. So firstly it will store 1, 2, then soak, jag, and then 30, 45. Now these parquet files are used whenever we have like data in we have multiple columns. Let's say we have thousands of columns in a single file, but we just want to query 2 or 3 of the columns from them. At that case scenario, we use parquet files for big data. So let's move further to another file format. Before that, we will be discussing about the difference between Avro and Parquet. One difference I already told. Avro stores the data in the form of column, row wise. So, but the Parquet file, store the data in the columnar way. Now, just see this is the first difference which I told. Now, second one is Parquet is much better for analytical querying. Whenever you want to read or query the file, then you should go for the parquet file. As I told, because it stores the data in the form of columnar way. Now what happens is, let's say I want to query only 2 columns out of, let's say, 1000 columns. It's very effective in case of parquet. Now the writing operation in Avro are better than parquet. So if you have write operations which are sometimes very rare in big data, based on the scenario or the use case, you can go for Avro if you have multiple write operations. Now Avro is much mature than the parquet when it comes to the schema, dynamic schema. For example, let's say you have big data whose schema keeps on changing again and again, then you should go for Avro file. If your schema is not changing often, then you should opt for the parquet file. So parquet is ideal for querying a subset of columns, as I already told, in a multi-column table. Avro is ideal for the case of ETL operation where you need to query all the columns. So these are the main difference between the Avro and the parquet file. Very important because both are used in big data. Now let's move further to the ORC files. Now ORC stands for optimized row columnar file, which is another columnar storage. That means just like parquet file, in parquet also we have the data stored in columnar way. Same in ORC also, the data is stored in the columnar way, right? But it supports multiple advanced operations than parquet file. So you must be thinking about like what's the difference in ORC and the parquet file. So let's check it out. So parquet is more compatible of storing the nested data. If you have multiple nested data, that means data inside data, then you can definitely go for the parquet file. So ORC is more capable of predicate push down. Now you must be thinking about like what is the meaning of predicate push down. So we'll talk about it in a moment. Let me just cover the another files. So points. So another one is like ORC just supports the ACID properties. We can even query or we can perform some operation in parquet, but it is very limited. So if you have the ETL big data where you need to perform ACID operation, then definitely go for ORC over the parquet, and it is more compression efficient. That means you will be able to compress it more further as compared to the parquet file. Now okay, so now let's talk about what is predicate pushdown. So let's say I have a query which firstly filters the data based on some column, and then the result is very less data. So at this case, what other if we will query, the best way is firstly query only the data from the source which we require after filtering only. So what it will do is predicate pushdown means that ORC file, like if we use ORC file and we queried some data over ORC file, if there are any filters applied in our query, they will be implemented, and only the data which is required, that only will be taken out from the storage, not the entire data, and then we are applying the filters. So it will firstly apply the filters, it will scan the data which is required by us with filters, and then it will take it out and it will display it to us. So this is how ORC work. And now let's talk about another file storage. Then we have the binary files. which is in the form of 01 formats. So these kind of files can also be processed using the ADF. Then we have compression formats such as the gzip, and then we have bzip too. So these kind of formats are also supported by the ADF. And then we have the archive formats such as zip. So you must have heard about zip, tar. So these are also supported by the ADF. So these are all the you can say the supported file formats in ADF. The main one are the ORC, parquet, and then we have the Avro. So these are the three main things which we have in ETL part. Otherwise you must have been heard about these other files often. I hope you found this video useful. Do subscribe my channel for more such videos. I will be completing this playlist soon of the basic Azure Data Factory, and then we will continue on the other playlists. Thank you.